Look at you, still standing in the wreckage of yesterday. You're trapped. That mistake you made 5 years ago, that relationship you destroyed, that opportunity you wasted because you were too scared to show up, you don't just remember those things, you relive them. You keep them alive, fresh, and painful, running the highlight reel of your failures every time you're alone. You've convinced yourself that this constant, self-inflicted punishment is a sign of your integrity, a necessary penance for your past wrongs. You wear your guilt and your regret like a hair shirt, believing that if you stop flagellating yourself, you'll become a monster who forgets their mistakes. Here is the first brutal truth. Your refusal to forgive yourself is not integrity, it is profound arrogance. You are acting as the judge, jury, and executioner in a court where the sentence is lifelong torment. You've given yourself a life sentence of self-hatred, and you believe this makes you morally superior. But it doesn't. True moral integrity is about recognizing the lesson, changing your behavior, and moving forward with wisdom. Your behavior is about self-pity and control. You are clinging to the past because in that prison, you feel safe. You know the guard, you know the cell, and the devil you know is easier than the terrifying uncertainty of a future you haven't yet screwed up. You're afraid that if you forgive yourself, you'll lose the motivation to be a better person. That is a lie. Your guilt isn't making you better, it's making you small. Think about how this emotional anchor poisons your relationships. You've convinced yourself you're fundamentally flawed, so you subconsciously seek out partners who will confirm that belief. You attract people who treat you poorly because your low self-worth is a beacon for dysfunction. You sabotage healthy connections the moment they become serious, because deep down, you don't feel worthy of sustained happiness. You feel like an imposter in a good relationship. And when they inevitably leave or you push them away, you get to say, "I knew it," and retreat back to the familiar safety of your own self-condemnation. You're not looking for love. You're looking for validation of your unworthiness. Your past mistakes aren't just memories. They are the emotional script you use to write your current reality. The shocking realization you need to confront is that you are not the same person who made those mistakes. The you who messed up was operating with less information, less experience, and less emotional maturity. You judge your past self with the ruthless, informed clarity of your present self. That's fundamentally unfair. That person is gone. You are here. You've learned the lesson. The price has been paid, not in eternal suffering, but in the wisdom you gained. To continue punishing yourself is to deny the value of that suffering. You're essentially saying that the wisdom gained was not worth the price paid, which traps you in a cycle of endless debt.
The small but powerful mindset shift is this. Your past is not a prediction of your future. It is merely a reference manual. Stop viewing your mistakes as character flaws and start viewing them as data points that inform your next decision. Forgiving yourself isn't about forgetting what you did. It's about accepting the data and applying the lesson. The only way out of the prison of the past is to realize the jailer is you. Now, drop the key. You think your guilt is protecting you. You believe it's the only thing standing between your current, imperfect self and a total moral collapse. This is the second great lie that keeps you trapped. Your guilt isn't a conscience. It's a comfort zone. It's easier to stay submerged in the pain of the past than to face the terrifying, high-stakes responsibility of being a fully accountable person in the present. If you let go of the guilt, you'd have to perform perfectly today, and that level of pressure is something your ego refuses to endure. Let's get specific about the self-sabotage. How many times have you almost started a new habit? A workout, a difficult conversation, a creative project, only to have that old memory surface and whisper, "Why bother? You'll just mess this up too, just like you mess up everything." That's the voice of the past, weaponized. You don't fail at these new things because you lack discipline. You fail because you actively seek to confirm your deeply held belief that you are a failure. Your mind is loyal to the story of your unworthiness. It will create real-world failures today just to keep that story consistent. You are, in essence, sacrificing your future potential on the altar of your past self's perceived flaws. Here is the most challenging truth you will ever face. Your inability to forgive yourself is often a thinly veiled narcissistic injury. You're not grieving the harm you caused others. You're grieving the fact that you weren't perfect. You're obsessed with your mistake because it shattered your self-image as the flawless good person. The focus is always on your failure, your guilt, your suffering. The real act of maturity is moving the spotlight off yourself and onto the reparation and rebuilding. Instead of focusing on how bad you feel, focus on how much better you can act. Guilt is self-absorbed. Accountability is action-oriented. The clear takeaway, the next mindset shift, is to transition from a mindset of guilt, I feel bad, to one of reparation, I will do better. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it is an action plan. You don't sit on the couch and wait for a wave of self-love to wash over you. You forgive yourself by proving to yourself, through consistent, intentional action, that you are no longer the person who made that mistake. The evidence for your redemption is not in your remorse, it is in your present behavior. You want to stop being trapped in the past? Then stop narrating it. Stop feeling the feeling. Start acting in defiance of the old story. Your life is not redeemed by your tears. It is redeemed by your effort. The only way to truly forgive yourself is to build a present and a future that the person who made the mistake could never have built. Get to work. The most difficult thing about your imprisonment is that you hold the keys. You are the only one demanding this life sentence, and every time you relapse into self-condemnation, you are not being honest, you are being lazy. It takes far less effort to wallow in the past and replay the pain than it does to build a concrete, consistent, and accountable life in the present. Your self-hatred is a form of emotional resistance to real change. You've made a terrible bargain, trading your future potential for the morbid comfort of eternal guilt.
Here is the final ultimate truth. Self-forgiveness is not an emotional state. It is a declaration of independence from your history. You don't feel forgiven. You choose to act as a person who has learned, grown, and moved on. The evidence of your forgiveness is in your feet, not your feelings. It's in the boundaries you set, the honest conversations you have, the work you put in, and the courage you show today. If you keep choosing the same small self-sabotaging actions, you are proving you haven't forgiven yourself. If you choose new, difficult, and honorable actions, you are automatically declaring yourself redeemed. Think about the life you are actively denying yourself, the love that requires you to be honest and vulnerable, the success that requires you to be confident and decisive. These things are not going to show up while you are constantly looking backward. You are wasting your present competency on past inadequacy. The person you are today, with all your current knowledge, skills, and emotional intelligence, is far more capable than the person who made that mistake. But you refuse to leverage that power because you're too busy staring at the failure. The grand total of all mindset shifts is this: stop trying to heal the wound and start building the fortress. You don't need to surgically remove the memory. You need to build a life so compelling, so focused on purpose, and so dedicated to integrity that the old memory becomes nothing more than a faint whisper in a large, echoing room. You don't forgive yourself by sitting and analyzing the trauma. You forgive yourself by getting up and living a life that honors the lesson learned. Your past self does not deserve your present devotion. Your future self is waiting for your present action. Stop looking back. Start building.